What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Across the Pond, where two American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football. I am the host, Richard Rodillo, joined by the man with the noggin, Jacob Bullard. How you
What's
doing, Jacob?
up? I'm good. I'm ready. We just watched Manchester City get a late win.
Yes, we are actually watching. We're as we're recording
We're
this,
multitasking.
we're multitasking by watching United play Valencia in the Champions League. You're not hearing it, which is good on the mic. Yeah, it's not going to pick up at all.
Can confirm.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. But yes, we are going to get into the review. The last, which was like the 10th edition of Across the Pond. We went through Premier League games, which we're going to go in, tell you about who scored, tell you the stats, tell you what we thought, highlights of all the games from our mouths to your ears. Let's get it.
Or your eyes.
Or your eyes. Here we go. We got Manchester United versus West
Starting
Ham
off
United.
with a good one.
It was the first game of the weekend I unfortunately woke up at this time. And yes. Wow. This game was rough, but let's get through it. So it was a 3-1 victory for West Ham. Felipe Anderson opened up the scoring in the 5th minute with an own goal after that by Victor Lindelof in the 43rd, right before half. Then United responded with a super sub, Marcus Rashford, in the 71st minute.
Super sub.
Nice little redirection. And then Marko Arnautovic scoring in the 74th to seal the deal for West Ham's victory over United. The possession stats, West Ham had the ball 49% to United's 51%. Shot-wise, West Ham had 8 shots with 3 on target, with United having 9 with 4 on targets. Rough game. Oh, my God.
It's a rough game for you.
Yeah. I think it was a rough game to watch, too, honestly. It was frustrating because United just couldn't figure out how to get into, like, an attacking mood in a way. Like, in the beginning, I don't know. For me, United, like, first 10 minutes are always, like, exciting. This game wasn't that at all. But maybe I was kind of half asleep as well because it was 4:30 in the morning. But unfortunately, Jose Mourinho made the great tactical lineup decision of putting McTominay in the back line, which I don't understand.
Perhaps he's just playing chess and we're all playing checkers.
Yep, exactly. I think he had a decent game. It just seemed like the Herrera on the Tottenham game. It just seemed at times he seems like he was out of position. Or just was like, oh wait, I'm a midfielder. What am I doing back here? I thought, the combination of Martial and Lukaku up top, I don't think it works as much. Because in the sense of Martial doesn't really. It's not. I think both of them are too selfish to put up top together, in my eyes. Even though Martial has better is a player that creates chances on his own rather than Lukaku does, because Lukaku seems like he needs more support, and I don't think Martial is going to give him that support up top. It seemed like maybe a Sanchez or a Rashford would have been the better option with one of these two. Yeah, it was pretty rough. I don't know why Marcus Rashford isn't scoring or not scoring. He scored obviously, but isn't starting as he's starting right now. But yeah, I don't know. I think tactically we were set up wrong. I think West Ham, played with their counter punches basically. That led up to the Felipe Anderson goal, which just as soon as he scored, I was like, all right. Like in my head, I was like, we lost this game already. Like it was already over.
You guys were a little unlucky because it looked like on the replay that Zabaleta was just offside.
Yeah, that too. The own goal by Victor Lindelof from Yarmolenko. I mean, that was a bit unlucky, but I don't know. It just wrong place, wrong time. And then the Arnautovic goal was just I don't even know what. He just broke through the line, and then David De Gea just was like, okay, why am I giving up? Like, this is like a penalty shot, basically.
Yeah, I don't think that this game, I don't think the scoreline was fair to United. Just like you said, or Zabaleta being offside, the own goal. United had a couple of good chances. Fabianski made a couple of good saves. But I don't think West Ham played well enough to deserve 3 goals. And as bad as a result as it seems to be for Manchester United, I don't think that they played so bad that they should have lost this game 3-1.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. For me, it was just the first goal. I was like, okay, we lost. I was like, in my head, I was like, there's nothing we could do. We don't have the right players on the field to score. It seems like we kind of just, I saw that headline when I was telling you earlier about seeing like Jose. Seems like he might just be doing this on purpose just to get sacked. So, yeah, especially with the statements with McTominay and Herrera starting in the back line. So it's kind of confusing. So it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Moving on, we got Manchester City versus Brighton. Manchester City won 2-0 with a goal from Raheem the Dream Sterling in the 29th minute. Sergio Aguero following up in the 65th minute to seal the deal for a City victory. City possessed the ball 80% to Brighton's 20 with 28 shots with 8 on target, when Brighton only having 4 with 1 on target. Seems like a very much a City win. They're just missing 2 or 3 more goals.
Yeah, I think they had a much harder time getting through Brighton than I think anyone really expected, especially after the games that we had against Cardiff and Huddersfield, I think. Both of those were like big wins, like how I kind of expected this to be. It seemed just at times like they were having a hard time finding that last pass. A lot of their shots were from the edge of the area. Not really. They didn't have a whole lot. They had a couple of clear-cut chances where they could have scored a couple more, but most of their shots were kind of just like either immediately blocked or like from the edge of the box and like over wide or whatever. So it was definitely a win that, like, I mean, Brighton with only 4 shots and 1 on target, like and 20% of the ball, they didn't even get out their half really.
Yeah, well, I think Brighton set up pretty well. They've been setting up pretty well for all teams most of the season. I'm kind of surprised, so I gotta give Brighton that. But they can't score goals if you don't get outside your half, or you can't win games. I think the best result would have been a draw for them, regardless. I don't know, even though if Glenn Murray would have nicked in a random goal or something like that, that would have been their only way of scoring, really. Or just like some kind of City mistake would have happened or something like that. But I don't think, the best result they would have got out of this is a draw. But yeah, good on them, because I think you guys are ahead on the table now. After
I think in this game it almost felt like Brighton were rotating because like Glenn Murray didn't start. He came in off the bench. It kind of just felt like they were just there. They were like, have your 3 points.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Unfortunately, but I think maybe they might have some injuries or something going on. Maybe guys weren't fit for the game or something like that.
Maybe,
who knows?
Yeah.
Moving on, we got Everton versus Fulham. Everton won 3-0 with Gylfi Sigurdsson scoring in the 58th minute, which he missed a penalty off the crossbar, I think at the 30-something minute maybe.
Yeah.
And then scoring again in the 89th, and then Cenk Tosun scoring in the 66th. Two pretty, the first goal for sure for Gylfi Sigurdsson was like pretty, I liked that very much. I enjoyed it. I was like, ooh, just how it curved, and I don't think he even lifted off the ground at all.
I don't think so did either.
Unless it came off his foot and then went directly through. But yeah, kind of unfortunate for Fulham. I think Sisson Young missed a chance in the beginning of the game where basically it was like right on the 6-yard box and hit it basically kind of directly at the Pickford. But moving to the possession stats, Everton possessed the ball 51% to Fulham's 49%. With 19 shots and 6 on target for Everton, with 6 and 0 shots on target for Fulham, unfortunately. It seems like Everton really clicked in this game.
Yeah.
Seems like everyone in the top half really contributed as well, which is good. Everyone besides Richarlison, but maybe that was a good or bad thing, it seems like they had like a Watford day where it was just who up top was gonna figure this out, and it seems like they did. Nothing really else to pull from this game in the sense that Fulham are looking more disappointing, and Everton are figuring it out, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I think when we did the preview for this game, I said that I thought Everton were going to win. They're eventually going to show that they're better than all these other mid to lower table teams. They're kind of, like I said in that episode, they're kind of the perennial like 7th place finisher, and I think that especially when they play like this, it's not going to be difficult for them to get into that position once the season is done with.
Yeah.
They played just about as good. This was probably maybe the game against Wolves. Even though that went down, that game ended up 10-on-10.
Yeah.
I think that this was probably their best performance of the season.
But with a 10-on-10, and they still scored those 2 goals with Drew Charlson, which was
Right.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Everton. Hopefully they can keep it up because they're really entertaining. I like what they have going up top. Seems like they with the transfer they had the previous year and then now, and with the last window before this, seems like they are figuring out what players they can play with, which is good. Let's move on. Newcastle United versus Leicester City. Leicester City won 2-0 with a penalty in the 30th minute from yours truly, Jamie Vardy. And then Harry Maguire scoring off a corner in the 73rd minute. Possession stats. Newcastle had 41% of the ball to Leicester City's 59%. Newcastle had 6 shots with 1 on target, with Leicester having 12 shots with 5 on target. Unfortunate with Yedlin's hands. Seems like he's having like a split year so far. As I think he has like the 2 assists and a goal, and then
Yeah, it's like Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, unfortunately, Leicester. I mean, I think this is not really a Leicester win. I mean, the Harry Maguire goal is starting to become a trademark of them in a way, off like a corner. But it seems like they weren't themselves in this game. Like it seemed like in the beginning of the game, like Newcastle were trying to create chances. Like most of the, even in the highlights, it was like Newcastle in like the first half until like the penalty, and then after that it was just unfortunate. And I'm hoping they turned it on, but it's not looking so good, even with Shelby back and Lascelles.
Yeah, I am continuing to be disappointed by Newcastle. They seem to really be struggling going forward. I think their biggest problem is service. Yedlin's been doing well at times, but he's been suspect defensively, just with like the penalties and such that he's been giving away and the own goals. Although I mean, a couple of those were pretty unlucky.
Yeah,
as well.
The
But
City game, he had an own goal, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and he scored in that game too, I think. Yeah. So, but I look at like Richie and Atsu like on the wings for Newcastle, just not providing good enough service. They're just not being able to connect passes when they get to the opponent's box. So, and then Leicester have been having, I would say, a good but not great year so far. Good to see Jamie Vardy score again. Like you said, Harry Maguire starting to, as he did in the World Cup too, like kind of the headers are becoming a trademark of his.
Yeah.
Definitely like a trait that he's going to hopefully be able to build on for Leicester in the years to come if he stays.
Yeah, Leicester's really benefiting off of not selling him in the summer as well. So
Yeah.
it's good that they are good on them to hang on to him.
Yeah.
So let's keep moving. Wolverhampton versus Southampton. Wolves won 2-0 with a goal in the 79th minute from Ivan Calvalario, right? Calvalario, right? Calvalario.
Valerio. Yeah.
Calvalario. Okay. And then Johnny, which I think is that wasn't Johto then? Never mind. From what I saw, I was wrong. Scoring in the 87th minute. Wolves had 49% possession of the ball, which is actually kind of surprising. Southampton had 51. Wolves had 14 shots with 6 on target, and Southampton was pumping in the stats over there as well with 17 with 6 on target. Southampton had a couple of chances. I think Vestergaard had a header, and I think it got saved, I believe, or it might have went just wide. I think it wasn't that terrible of a loss. I think just Wolves just created a lot more chaos in the box and got those goals in, which seems like because the Calviero goal was like a pass back into like the top of the box, and then the Johnny goal I believe was like a header. From what I remember, no, it was a shot from like the left side of the pitch, I believe, like right outside the box.
I think that kind of business as usual for Wolves. I don't really think poorly or like look down upon Southampton for losing this game. I think if you look at just the way the stats panned out, like basically even possession, both with 6 on target, like you said, and like both of them with shots up into the teens. I think Wolves are better prepared than most other teams, especially like the bottom tier teams in the league. Wolves are the best prepared to play that sort of like open, just like back and forth game. I think that play, like the counterattack, plays really well into Wolves' system and what they've been trying to do. Like you saw, we saw their points against City and United, and then a lot of wins against teams that are more on their level. They just seem to be able to counterattack really effectively. They have a pretty good run going and a good system for the players that they have, and they're just able to take advantage more often than not.
Yeah, this is definitely even that door open for that the Europa League spot at least. But yeah, there's good on them again. I don't know how else. Traore, Adama Traore, whatever the order his name is. Very exciting player. Let's keep moving. Huddersfield versus Tottenham. The Harry Kane team won 2-0 with Harry Kane scoring 2 goals in the 25th minute and the 34th minute with a penalty. Huddersfield had 53% possession of the ball, with Tottenham having 47. 9 shots with 5 on target for Huddersfield and 10 with 6 on target for Tottenham. Seems like Son is back. I think he had like the Asian games or something like that. So this is like the 3rd consecutive game I think he's played or started. So it seems like he's back in the squad. For some reason on my thing it tells me Victor Wanyama got subbed in twice.
It says that on mine as well. Actually, he's a midfielder and a center back apparently.
That must be something must have been wrong with that. I forgot to watch the highlights on this game, so.
This was very much business as usual for Spurs. I think they were Huddersfield opened them up a little bit too easily at times. Spurs were a little bit disorganized defensively, it felt like. But obviously, Huddersfield weren't able to contain Harry Kane, as very few teams are at the bottom of the table. So he was the difference maker for Spurs. A good 3 points for them. Especially considering other results this week, with them gaining some ground back. So yeah, I don't think there's really not a lot to take from here because Huddersfield just aren't able to compete with Spurs on this level.
Like Cardiff, Brighton, and Huddersfield are kind of like in the same kind of boat in a way. But those games when they play each other are pretty entertaining. But when they play the top 10 squads, it's just like, thanks for showing up. Unless you're Brighton against Manchester United, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving. Arsenal, Watford. I think I picked Watford in this game, unfortunately.
I think I had a draw. I don't remember, though.
Well, Arsenal won, or barely won, a 2-0 victory with Craig Carthcart with an own goal in the 81st minute. Unfortunately, it was like a cross into Lacazette, and it just like nutmeg Lacazette and then hit his leg.
Yeah.
I don't know how else you can defend that, unfortunately. Maybe just get in front of Lacazette, I guess. And then Mesut Ozil with a goal in the 83rd, which is basically right after that. Arsenal had 63% possession to Watford's 37%. 9 shots with 2 on target for Arsenal, which is the only. Does the own goal count as a shot on target?
No.
Okay, so that's not good. With 14 with 5 on target for Watford. I think we saw unfortunately, what can happen in the last 10 minutes of a game for a team like Watford. They had a couple chances. I think Deeney had like a goal, somewhat of a chance in the beginning. He just like misdirected the ball, I believe, on a cross.
Yeah, and Isaac's success was through 1-on-1 with Leno.
Overshot it. Oh, and then Czech got hurt.
Yeah, and Petacek got hurt, so Leno got let out of the cellar.
Yeah.
I think Watford deserved more from this game. They weren't really able to take their chances, but the counterattack against Arsenal was pretty effective.
Led by Iwobi. Iwobi had a great game.
Yeah. Iwobi? Iwobi plays for Arsenal. I'm talking about Watford.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm saying like Iwobi had a great counterattack, or he was leading that counter.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think Watford obviously had very little possession, but they were able to move through at least the midfield pretty easily. They just had a hard time kind of getting the ball into the back of the net. So I don't really think of this as a bad result for Watford. Obviously, they had a really strong start to the year. They were up in third, I think, after like 3 or 4 weeks. They got unlucky with the own goal, and then they got caught. Now, like once it was 1-0, like they had to open up a little bit, and then they got caught a second time. So not really anything too surprising here. Arsenal continued to be wasteful. We saw like Lacazette's miss.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Iwobi, right? I think had one on the right side where he like just missed the post.
Yes.
Maybe that was Successes that I'm thinking of, where it's like that.
No, Successes went over the crossbar.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Arsenal didn't benefit off of, again, with Ozil on the right. I think they should maybe want to take a note from Watford's formation. Maybe having Lacazette and Aubameyang up top, and then maybe having what's it called, Ramsey and Ozil right behind them playing more central. Maybe that might help.
It was good to see Torreira starting. 'Cause what I think one of their biggest holes early on in the year was that they were playing Ozil on the right, but they had Guendouzi behind him in midfield. And so at times, like there was no one over there but Hector Bellerin, and he was getting kind of torn apart. So I think having Torreira in there has helped them keep their shape a little bit better. But I think I agree with you. I think that having Ozil on the right is still a liability.
Yeah. He's too lazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, or at least he appears that way.
Well, defending was.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. But it's a good 3 points for Arsenal. Grinding out 3 points despite not really playing that well. So
yeah, I think it's a good Watford team, I would say.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving. Chelsea, Liverpool.
Woo.
Lots would say that this was the game of the weekend for the Premier League. Maybe even just here.
I think everyone would say this was the game of the weekend.
So Chelsea drew to Liverpool at this was at Anfield or Stamford Bridge, I believe.
Stamford Bridge.
Yeah. With Eden Hazard scoring in the 25th minute, but was outdone by Daniel Sturridge's goal to draw up the game. A beautiful goal by Daniel Sturridge where he said, "F it, I got this." Chelsea had the ball 47% to Liverpool's 53%. 10 shots with 4 on target for Chelsea and 13 with 6 on target for Liverpool. We were at the air show kind of watching this game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the best connection, but my phone was the only one that was responding while we were in intermission kind of in a way. And then we watched that Daniel Sturridge goal, which was a beauty, which he scored at the very end. I think Firmino had a chance in there. David Luiz scored a header, it was either Van Dijk or Firmino had a header, and David Luiz was the only person there.
Yeah, he cleared it off the line.
Kepa got caught out a little bit. Seemed like and then Shaqiri. So I mean, it could have went both ways because Hazard had also a one-on-one chance that got saved by Alisson, and then We had Shaqiri, who just kind of shanked that ball right too far, unfortunately. And then Sadio Mane had a great effort. Unfortunately,
It
didn't
was a
work out
good
for
save
him.
from Kepa, yeah.
Yeah. But somewhat entertaining, I would say. Unfortunately, no one got the 3 points, but you would say that this is better for you because both of them just got a point, and they lost out on 2 points.
Yeah, I think this was a good result for the rest of the league, at least in the top 6, the chasing pack. Like, this was with Arsenal, Spurs, and City winning. Like, this was the ideal result, I think, for all 3 of those teams. I think, like you said, it could have gone both ways because Liverpool did miss a couple chances. Chelsea, Eden Hazard missed a really good chance to put the game away in like the 65th or so minute. He was 1-on-1 with Leno. Couldn't put the game away there. It would have been 2-0 with about 20, 25 minutes left to play. But Liverpool missed a couple chances and then scored one that they shouldn't. Like, Sturridge is not going to score that again. And he could try that another 99 times, and he's not going to score that.
Like the Emery Chan bicycle kick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think it was a fair result in the end. I think this is the first big game, I think, for Liverpool this year. I don't think they've played anyone else.
They haven't played Arsenal. They haven't played us. They
play us next weekend.
Yeah. I think top 6 wise. Because they haven't played Tottenham either. Yeah, this is like their biggest game so far this year, and because Chelsea's only played no one. No, they played Arsenal already.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Well, just like there's like their first test of the year. I think a lot of people didn't think that Chelsea were going to be able to repeat the performance that they had against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup with that 2-1 win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they showed that they did, and this was against, like, obviously these were both of their basically full squads, not the B teams that played in the Carabao Cup.
Plus the super subs.
Right, yeah. So I think more than anything, this shows that Chelsea is more for real than maybe at least some people thought. I think like them being able to hold their own against Liverpool twice consecutively is good for them.
Yeah, especially with that weird backline because it seems too shaky at times, and it seems like they got exploited on crosses as well because they just kind of got lucky on the people being on the backline and kept with a couple saves there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like Liverpool someone got what's it called? Unfortunate just in the way it ended up and people being on the back line. Let's move on to the only game on Sunday. Boom, 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 boom. Is that Monday Night Football?
That's Monday Night Football.
What's Sunday Night Football?
Sunday night's like Carrie Underwood singing.
Oh, okay, never mind. Burnley won 2-1 to Cardiff. Is it Joanne?
I don't have it open.
Goodmanson scored in the 51st
Johan
minute.
Goodmanson, yeah.
Oh, Johan. And Sam. Oh no, wait, never mind. Josh. Jesus, what? I can't read. I'm dyslexia. Josh Murphy scored in the 60th minute, and then Sam Vokes scored in a very Sam Vokes way in the 70th minute to seal the deal for Burnley. 54% possession to Cardiff City to Burnley's 46% possession. 25 with 5 on target for Cardiff City, with 3 and 2 on target for Burnley. Burnley weren't creating the chances, but they created the chances where it mattered.
Yep, I think Burnley were just clinical basically in this game. Cardiff, this was probably Cardiff's best performance of the year as far as just generate, because like they had a really hard time early in the season getting any goals at all, creating chances at all. So I think this was a good game for their attacking confidence, especially against teams of their ilk, like kind of towards the bottom of the table. Although, I mean, I think Burnley is a better team and would have won this game more often than not. But Burnley so far this season hasn't really been all that impressive up until last week's 4-0 win over Bournemouth. Yeah. So, but I think this is the result that everyone kind of expected, but not the manner in which it came. I think Cardiff being like having a little bit of the majority of possession, just a little bit over 50%, and so many chances that they just weren't able to convert. I think both teams, even though Cardiff lost, I think both teams can take confidence from this game.
Yeah, I think Burnley needs like these kind of moments during the season to again potentially get back into the Europa League spot. Like I said, like that's like when we were watching the highlights, I was like, that's a Sandbox goal right there, where he just like heads it in.
Yeah,
off a perfect.
It was a really
cross.
nice header, like back across goal.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to the last game in the Premier League that we're going to review. We got Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace. Bournemouth won 2-1 with David Brooks with a very nice goal in the 5th minute, and then responded by Patrick Van Aanholt.
Also a very nice goal.
Yes, almost similar in a way.
Yeah.
In the 55th minute, and Junior Stanislas. Jesus, you said this to me like 5 times. I still can't pronounce it, but yes, Stanislas in the 87th minute off a penalty, which I'm trying to remember who it was on, but I can't remember how that happened. But regardless, possession-wise, 44% to going to Bournemouth. Crystal Palace going to with 56% possession. 11 with 5 on target for Bournemouth, and 10 with 2 on target for Crystal Palace. A Bournemouth victory in the books for them. I think it's a good response from what happened last week too, in during the Burnley week.
Yeah.
I think Callum Wilson missed basically a one-on-one chance. Kind of hit it too directly at the goalie. I think he tried to nutmeg him, but unfortunately caught part of his leg. Other than that, I mean, Crystal Palace, I don't think was expecting to probably have the ball that much in this game. Or, I mean, probably against top opponents, they're not expecting. But I think it goes to what we were talking about the other day about Leicester City and like teams like that that rely on the counterattack. If you give them the ball too much, they kind of crumble in a way, and they're not able to score goals.
Yeah.
Against like how they score goals against teams that possess the ball more. I think that's what was a good game plan by Eddie Howe, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's all I have to really say. I think 2 good goals. I think David Brooks, that was his first Premier League goal, and I think maybe that was his first appearance for Bournemouth. I'm not too sure. I have to double check that. But welcome to Premier League, young man. Other than that, I mean, there wasn't too many chances I think Crystal Palace really shined on this game.
Yeah, I think, again, as kind of been in the theme for a few of these games this weekend, Crystal Palace really struggled getting that last pass in the final third. I think this is a good win for Bournemouth. It puts them up into 7th. Kind of just if you can get like their wins out of the way early, then they don't really have to worry about relegation, which I think will be like good for them. They've had a couple of nice come from behind victories this year. Come from behind like results, like getting draws. Like I think it was Everton. They were 2-0 down, came back from that.
Yeah, I think Aki had a goal in there. I remember.
Yeah, so they've just been able to kind of grind out results so far this year, and they continue doing that. I don't really think they played all that well against Crystal Palace. But yeah, I think it was a good result for them. Crystal Palace need to figure it out. I don't really feel like Wilfried Zaha is really clicking right now, and that seems to be their only outlet.
Yeah, I think he got the assist though for the Van Aanholt goal.
Okay.
But I mean, that was just like a simple pass. It was all Van Aanholt on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But yeah. The table at the moment, I forgot to do that. Let me pull up that up. Or do you want to say the table? And I'm going to say stats.
I just closed it down because I was going to go to the next games.
Okay. Table. We got City in first with 19 points. Right behind them is Liverpool with another 19 points. Just goal difference is the difference. 3 points to 3 points. Chelsea's in third with 17. Tottenham is in fourth with 15. Right behind them is Arsenal with 15 as well. Watford is still in the top 6 with 13 points. Bournemouth right behind them with another set of 13 points. Leicester City is in 8th with 12. Right behind them, matching them in points, is Wolverhampton. Manchester United is in 10th with 10 points. Everton is right behind them with 9. Burnley is in 12th with 7. And Crystal Palace is right behind them in 13th with the 7. And West Ham is out of the relegation zone and is in 14th with another set of 7. In 15th, we got Brighton with 5. Right behind them, Southampton with 5. Fulham in 17th with 5 as well. And the bottom 3 with all 2 points is 18th is Newcastle. Cardiff is in 19th. And Huddersfield is at the bottom with 20. So it seems like 15 to 20 it's like going to be a strong relegation battle. Looks like so far. Stat wise, look at the stats. Top scorer in the Premier League at the moment. Give me a sec. We got Eden Hazard with 6 goals. Sergio Aguero right behind him with Harry Kane with 5.
Kind of the usual suspects there.
The usual guys that are always there.
Mitrovic. No, Mitrovic has 5 too, I think, right? Like probably just off that list.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5, I think. Because Hazard's kind of not that he's not surprising that he's up there, but I think because of the tactical switch and the formation switch from he's really benefited off of that.
Yeah.
Jose Halabas has 4 assists. Sergio Aguero has 38 shots on target. Or no, just 38 shots. My bad. Is it Guy or Gay?
Idrissa Gueye.
Gay. Is in first with 36 tackles with Mohamed
Interesting.
Diame.
Yeah.
With 28, and Will Hughes with 28. I think that list has totally changed. I think maybe Will Hughes was up top like a while ago, but now since we haven't been back looking at these stats. Emerick Laporte is in first with clean sheets.
Sure.
And then Joe Hart is in first with 34 saves.
Well, I wonder what makes them pick Laporte over...
Maybe alphabetically the first name.
Oh, okay. That could be true.
Liverpool leads the league with 6 wins, but City has 6 wins as well. Arsenal has 5 wins in third. Cardiff City leads the league in losses with 5. Manchester City leads the league with 168 shots. West Ham leads the league in tackles with Everton right behind them with 144, and Leicester behind them with 140. Manchester City, I think, just took over Chelsea's spot with 5,111 passes.
In 7 games.
Yes. And Burnley continues to lead the league in long balls with 556.
Okay.
Let's move to the Serie A. 3 games that we talked about.
That we did previous for.
I'm gonna have to pull out. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Scroll.
So the first one was Roma against Lazio, the Rome derby. Highly anticipated game, highly contested game. I think you had Lazio, right? I think I had Roma.
Oh, yeah, I did. Unfortunately.
And it did not go Lazio's way.
Yes, it did not.
It was a 3-1 win for Roma. You've got like all the people that scored there.
Yeah, Lorenzo Pellegrini scored in the 45th minute with a very good, nice back heel.
Yeah.
Then Ciro Immobile with very much a Ciro Immobile goal, scored in the 67th minute. Alexander Kolarov with a free kick in the 71st, and Fabricio, I can't even say his name.
Isn't it Fabricio?
Fazio, basically. I can't say that right now. In the 86th minute, scored and sealed the deal for them.
Yep.
Roma had 44% possession of the ball, with Lazio having 56% possession. Roma had 17 shots with 7 on target, and Lazio had 16 with 4 on target. Very much, I would say it was a competitive game. I think before we left to go to the air show, I watched like the first half, I believe. It's very much just Roma kind of probing, and then Lazio kind of on the counter, or when they possessed the ball, kind of created their chances when they needed to.
Yeah.
I think it was unfortunate too. I think like the Kolarov goal, I mean, I don't know how you can stop that. The Pellegrini goal was just like a total just chaotic. Lazio's goalie, the Albanian guy, I can't remember how to say his name. Strakovokic or Strakvoko or something like that.
I don't have it up. I'm not sure.
Strakkoza. I was informed, but it's unfortunate they got taken out on that kind of clearance, and then the Fazio goal was just kind of bad marking, unfortunately, on the corner.
Bad marking on like a really nice ball in.
Yeah.
I think that this is a really good win for Roma to kind of get the train rolling again for them this season because they had a very slow start to the year. They have many places in the table that they have to climb up to get back into the Europa League and Champions League spots. So this was a really big win for them in what's always a highly contested game. Lazio just seemed like, I don't know, for me, I know they've been doing well as far as the results that they've been getting so far this year. I think they were in third when this game started. But they seem to me to be like a combination of Spurs and like Crystal Palace. Like Immobile is their guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they have, especially now, a much better supporting cast than I think that they've had in the last few years.
Well, I think yes and no in the sense that they haven't, like Roma, like it seems like Roma is figuring out all the pieces that they brought in today, like this past game. I think with everyone they brought in for Lazio, they have, I think, good guys like Luis Alberto, the Montenegrin guy, Manzuric, I think that's how you say his name. Correa, I think they brought in from Atletico Madrid, and there's someone else that I missed. Oh, Lulic. So they have guys going forward. It's just the problem is like how are they going to support Immobile? And I think Felipe Anderson is kind of like a big guy. I think they're missing. That's kind of creates chaos and then allows Immobile to kind of come in and kind of clean up or be able to not have to rely on Immobile all the time. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I think Roma could have had a couple more even than what they ended up with. I know Edin Dzeko missed a couple chances.
Yeah.
I think he missed a couple early for sure. But overall, to me anyway, this was not a surprising result. I think Roma, we're starting to get their backs against the wall a little bit because they're so far down the table.
I think Lazio brought in from Sassuolo a Serbi.
That's
That's what I said his last name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they brought in a couple. Yeah, I think they're in the same boat as Roma, just figuring out how the pieces are all going to work. But I think they'll be okay. But unfortunately, they lost the Rome derby.
Yeah.
Ready for some Juve?
I'm ready.
We got Juve versus Napoli, 1 versus 2. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Juve won 3-1 with a goal opening up in the 26th minute by Mario Mandzukic. And then he scored again in the 49th. Oh, actually, no. Dries Mertens scored in the 10th. My bad. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say I thought Napoli were up 1-0.
Yeah, Dries Mertens scored in the early on in the game in the 10th minute. And then Mario Mandzukic basically scoring in the middle of the first half and then the beginning of the second half. Unfortunately, Mario Rui, or is it Rui?
Rui, I think.
Okay. Unfortunately had I don't know if it's a questionable red card. It just didn't seem like, if at most, I don't know. I have to look at it again and again.
It was a second yellow, right? I don't think it was straight red. Was it a straight red? Oh, okay. I'm not sure.
But regardless, yeah, he went off in the 58th minute, and then almost right after that, Leonardo Bonucci scores in the 76th minute to seal the deal for Juve. Juve had 51% possession to Napoli's 49% possession. 70 shots with 9 on target for Juve, 14 with 4 on target for Napoli. I think Ronaldo had the first assist, right, for Mario Mandzukic's goal.
I don't remember.
I think it was like a cross, and he just headed it in.
Yeah, I know it was a header that he scored. I don't remember who crossed
he played
it.
Out wide too, right? No, he didn't. Never mind. But he was out wide for that cross. Yeah, I don't. That sucks because I picked Napoli in this game.
Yeah, you did.
I literally
mistakes were made.
I think I went 0-10 this week for all the games I picked. Unfortunately, yeah, I think Juve were the better team. I think there was a little bit of a slip up, probably just a little disorganized in the beginning of the game, just early game jitters, and that's how that Mertens got that goal. Other than that, yeah, it seemed like it was all Juve after that though. And then leading up to that red card, it was just like, this game's over. This
game basically went exactly as I expected it to. I think that as well as Napoli's been playing so far this season, a couple of big come-from-behind victories. Juventus are still by far and away the best team in Serie A. I think they just showed that today. I think they're starting to figure out more and more how to use Ronaldo. I still have questions as to whether or not... I think... Napoli did not play well on the day, and that is why Juve looked as good as they did. But I still don't think that it's working that well with Ronaldo.
Which
but-
is scary.
Right, because if they figure it out one of these days, then
Yeah.
they'll be truly dangerous. But yeah, I think Juventus maintaining their perfect record. I think Juventus and PSG are the only two teams left that have yet to drop points
Yeah.
in like the major leagues. So yeah, this was really unsurprising for me, and I think it's going to be worrying for the league because Juve have already played Lazio. I think they've already played Napoli. They've already played Sassuolo.
Yeah.
So like they've already knocked away some of the bigger teams
And I think they'll
still have a perfect record. So
I don't know how tough that game is going to be against Inter, and they haven't played Roma yet, right?
I don't think they've played
Okay.
Roma yet.
But yeah, I think it's kind of concerning in a way, because like I think Napoli is like even has a better team than like the difference between like Juve and the rest of the pack. I think Napoli has that same kind of distance between teams behind them, and which is kind of scary too, because like they got pretty worked in this game. But I think maybe it's just the setup. I'm not too sure. It was in Turin, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
but
So
I'm not sure.
maybe there was that as well. I'm not too sure, unfortunately.
It really feels like to me that I think Serie A felt more like League 1 recently with like how dominant Juventus have been. Like now that Napoli's kind of risen up, I think it's more like it's mirroring like what the Bundesliga is, or at least was 4 or 5 years ago, where it was always Bayern, and then like a little gap to Dortmund, and then everyone else below them.
Yeah.
And that's starting to feel like that, where it's like Juve are by far the best team, Napoli are clearly the second best team, and then there's a gap in with everyone below them. So
Yeah, because like we just saw Hoffenheim, and like they look pretty solid for like a team that's kind of
yeah, I think the
strapped
Bundesliga has
together.
changed a little bit. I don't know whether or not I guess so far this season kind of veer off track a little bit here, but like
That's fine.
Bayern have dropped points in like their last 2 or 3 games, and so like it's looking a little bit more competitive. And Dortmund have not been as strong and consistent as they have been like 3+ years ago.
Christian Pulisic.
So
Okay, sorry. Yeah, unfortunate. Let's keep moving to the last Serie A game we're gonna cover. We got AC Milan versus Sassuolo. AC Milan won 4-1. Is it Frank Essien?
yes. Yeah.
Scored in the 39th minute with a goal from all the way from the other side of the world. Suso scored a goal in the 50th minute and then eventually scoring again in the 94th minute. And then Samuel Castillo. Okay, I say his last name in my head, but I can't say it in real life. Castiello. I said that right?
I don't know. You're the one reading it.
Okay. Well, that's his name.
Sorry.
Now. In the 60th minute. And then Filip Duvricic, who scored his first Sassuolo goal in the 68th minute. I think. Oh wait, never mind. Possession-wise, sorry, I'll talk about that after. 60% possession went to Sassuolo to Milan's 40% possession. 12 with 2 shots on target for Sassuolo, and then 12 with 8 on target for Milan. Really efficient for Milan. I think Sassuolo got the short end of the stick of this game. I believe. I think like the way the game started, and the chances that were creating, they were kind of really begging for a goal early on. It wasn't there for them, and I think with the technical side of Milan, I think they just were able to capitalize a lot better. And as we saw, like the shot difference on targets was big. The Kessie goal, I don't know what the hell happened there. That was just like, what? It just went like
They got caught really
Yeah.
badly on the counter attack.
yeah,
there,
and
yeah.
like it wasn't even like it was a 1-man counterattack as well, which was like crazy.
Well, it was like 4. It was 4-on-2 at the other end. Kessie just kept the ball and
Yeah,
scored.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I was a little disappointed in the result, and a little disappointed in Sassuolo. But I think they hopefully will learn from this. I think they're still one of the most entertaining teams in Serie A to watch. And I love Boateng and the Berardi combination. Yeah, it just seems like they just need to be more efficient on their chances. Because they did create a lot of chances in this game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they were somewhat unlucky to not be 1-0 up early. But But again, similar. I had Milan in this game. You had Sassuolo. Milan and Roma are basically in the same boat. Like both of those teams needed to start winning games before they're like Milan. I think were all the way down in like 12th or 13th on the table going into this game. So, I mean, they lose to Sassuolo and like their season's basically over. They're not going to make up that many points against that many teams ahead of them to get back into like the European contention, European qualification spots.
Yeah.
So Milan really needed to be strong in this game. I think that they definitely took a step in the right direction. I don't really think that they played their best, even though they did score 4 goals.
Yeah, Suso was pretty lit in this game. So.
Yeah. But I think Sassuolo were 3rd or 4th in going into this game.
I think they only dropped down to 4th after this.
Yeah, so they've had a really strong start to the year. Not really, I think, a big deal for them. Although we will talk about like their game next week against Napoli later. But to me, this was exactly the result that Milan needed.
All right, let's jump to the north side, or let's go north of Italy and go to Germany, to the Bundesliga. The game that we talked about last week that we previewed was Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Leverkusen. Borussia Dortmund won 4-2 with a goal from Mitchell Weiser in the 9th minute, and then another goal from Jonathan Tah in the 39th. They had a 2-goal lead in this game at the start of it, and then Jacob Brun Larsen scored in the 65th minute, and then Marco Reus scored in the 69th minute. Good old 69th minute. And then Paco Alcácer. How do you say his last name?
Alcácer, I think.
Alcácer. I'm going to call him Excelsior from now on.
Sure.
Because that's what I see.
Because he's definitely a sword.
Well, I mean, he scored 2 goals. So he scored in the 85th minute and then in the 94th minute. Leverkusen had 43% possession of the ball to Bayern. Borussia Dortmund's 57% possession. 14 shots with 6 on target for Leverkusen, with 16 and 10 on target for Dortmund. I don't know if Pulisic had any assists on these, but regardless, a good win for Dortmund, especially coming from behind 2-0. That's kind of how I felt with the United game, but I felt like we weren't going to come back anyways. But for Borussia Dortmund, they have enough going forward to where they can challenge teams to come back. Somewhat of an important win. I think when you look at the table, it pits Dortmund up top, actually. With that game,
because Bayern keep dropping points.
Yeah, which is going to make the season interesting. Finally, we're going to have
hopefully
a Bundesliga season where it doesn't end in like January, basically. And we're going to see maybe it go all the way to the end.
Yep. It's definitely possible. This game for me, if you go back to the last episode that we recorded, this game went exactly how I thought it was going to go. I said then that Dortmund have a hard time keeping the ball out of the back of their own net. They've not really been that strong defensively, or at least they haven't figured out what they want to do defensively, but they're always capable of outscoring their opponent, maybe with the exception of Bayern. And this is exactly how it went, like a 4-2. This is probably their second, maybe even third 4-2 win this year. They have a lot of like 3-1, 3-2, 4-2 sorts of games where like they're willing at all times to go into like shootout mode, where it's just like a really open game, and they're confident that they're going to be able to win and score, just outscore their opponent. Like they're basically the embodiment of the best defense is a good offense sort of mentality. I don't think Pulisic had any assists in this game, I guess just from like an American standpoint. But one thing that's a little bit heartbreaking for me is seeing how well Jadon Sancho has been doing since he left City and went to Dortmund. He had 2 assists in this game. He came on for Christian Pulisic. He just signed a contract extension through the 2022 season, so Dortmund are locking him down, and he's been really good for them so far this year. Just as not even as a goal scorer. I think he really only has like 2 or 3 goals with Dortmund since he moved. but he's been really important for them, finding that like key pass that breaks down the defense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got an informed for FIFA this past week, just with the 2 assists maybe. Because and he's a lower end card, he'll probably be on the bench. But yeah, I'm excited for Dortmund. I think the pieces with bringing in guys around Europe that aren't going to get first team play at the top end of or top like whatever teams in their leagues and going to Dortmund, because it seems like everyone they've brought in and everyone there is getting playing time.
Yeah.
And they're figuring out how to get all these guys in and out. I think I forgot who's managing them. I think he was like a Borussia Dortmund like under whatever, and they just promoted him.
Okay.
So I think that's good. And hopefully this works out for them. Maybe he's a guy from Ajax, actually. Maybe. I forgot.
Yeah, and Dortmund are one of the last few teams left that have yet to lose a league game. I think it's just City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Dortmund, Juve, and PSG, I think, are the only ones.
Well, PSG's probably not going to lose a league game all year, but...
Oh, they always lose a couple.
Okay, we'll see.
Because they get lazy in, like, the middle of the season.
This is true.
But this was a good result for Dortmund. It's good to see them at the top of the table. It wasn't really looking that good, even though it was early, like, 3-4 games into the season before Bayern started dropping points. Like, it looked like it was already over. It looked like Liga. That's what it looked like. So, good to see some other teams getting up there. I mean, like, even Hertha Berlin sitting in third level with Bayern. So
what's kind of weird because, like, Hoffenheim and Schalke are at the very bottom of the table. I think that's just the Champions League fatigue. It's probably catching up to them. I think that as soon as, like, Champions League, like, they get knocked out, Champions League they'll probably be able to work their way back up to the table. And then you'll really see what the Bundesliga is going to look like. At the moment, I don't think what we're seeing right now is what's going to be even close to what the end result is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think the top two teams will be there, though, regardless, because of the depth they have. Let's keep moving. Is that all the reviews that we have?
It is.
It is. Okay. We're going to get into some previews, or is there anything else before the previews that we're going to
No, we're good. Straight to the previews. Match week 8.
Match week 8.
At least match week 8 in the Premier League.
Premier League. Give me 1 second, my friend.
1,000. Your time's up.
Thank you for being my friend. Match day 7. Oh, no, wait. No, 8. My bad.
8.
Sorry.
Match day 8.
This said match day 7. We got a Friday game. October 5th.
Gonna be lit.
At the Amex Stadium. We got Brighton versus West Ham. We got 2 bottom-end teams. 14th versus 15th. Who you got?
As you know, got to stay on that West Ham train. Brighton coming off a 2-0 loss to City. Hopefully they'll have Glenn Murray starting in this game for them. I think they're more likely to. And this is, I believe, a home game for them. This is not at the London Stadium, right?
Yeah, this is home game.
Right, this is the Amex. So, I don't know. I think I feel like West Ham are just starting to turn the corner from their dismal, like, 0-4 start that they had to the season. Because they had the win. They had a 3-1 win against Everton 2 weeks ago. And then 3-1 win against United at home. So hopefully they're able to turn a corner, and I think that they're going to get the 3 points against Brighton away.
Yeah, it seems like Felipe Anderson's starting to understand the Premier League and what you need to do. But I'm going to go with West Ham as well. West Ham has 73% picked, 6 to a draw and 21 to Brighton. But I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton gets a draw out of this. Just the way they set up, they might set up well against West Ham to where they can nick a. I mean, for me, at most, for every game, Brighton I feel like can get a draw. That's like the best result, like in my eyes. But like reality-wise, I think they might be better than that. We'll see. Oh, and the game's back on.
Your TV is just making stuff up as it goes along here.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, it's something to know.
Here we go. We got Leicester City versus Everton at the King Power Stadium. Who you got?
Oh, man, this is a tough game for me because I've been picking both of these teams pretty consistently so far this season.
This is true.
Everton with that big 3-0 win against Fulham, and Leicester with the 2-0 win over, I don't remember, last week. I think I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm leaning Everton, but I'm gonna go for a draw. I think that Leicester being at home is what's gonna make this a draw rather than an Everton win. Vardy's been playing well. James Maddison has been really, really good for them so far this year. And Everton, so far, I've had kind of an up and down season, like the loss to West Ham a couple weeks ago when West Ham really weren't playing that well and Everton were very poor. So it really kind of just depends on what Everton we get. So, but I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Everton on this one. I feel it'll probably be like a 3-2. I think Jamie Vardy will get a goal and Maddison will get a goal, or Maddison will get like a cross. Madison's gonna get involved in this game. But yeah, I'm gonna go Everton just because I think it's starting to click for them up top. I think Theo Walcott getting that connection to Tosin. I think all that's gonna start clicking. So and then plus Richarlison's still there as well. So 41%, 1% is going to Everton, 10 to a draw, and then 49 going to Leicester City.
That's about as level as any one of those one football things have been this year.
Yeah, I think that might be the levelest for this week too, probably from looking at it.
Yeah.
Next, we're gonna move on to Burnley versus Huddersfield Town. This is at Turf Moor. Who you got?
I'm gonna go for Burnley. I know that they didn't play. I don't think they're gonna play as poorly as they did at Cardiff. Like that whole game against Cardiff, they only had 3 shots, 2 on target, and scored twice. Now that they're at home, I think they're gonna be much better going forward. Much more aggressive anyway going forward. So I'm gonna go for Burnley. I think they're definitely capable of beating all of these kind of bottom feeder teams.
I agree too. I'm gonna go with Burnley in this one as well. I think it's gonna be interesting to watch them against Chelsea, just cause how the way they play and how bad Chelsea is at defending crosses. But for this game, I feel like that's gonna happen again, and I want to say it's gonna be like 3-1.
Okay.
For Burnley, which I'm probably gonna be. I might be wrong on, but who cares? But we got 72% going to Burnley, 10 to a draw, and 18% going to Huddersfield Town.
Yeah, I think they'll just be able to carry forward the momentum that they've had from the 4-0 at Bournemouth, 2-1 at Cardiff, and carry another win, hopefully for them anyway, another win into the international break. So.
All right, here we go. We got Crystal Palace versus Wolves at Selhurst Park. It is 9 versus 13. Who you got?
I'm going to go for Wolves. Wolves just seem to be able to counterattack their way to 3 points basically every single week. Wolves coming off a 2-0 win against Southampton, where they were outpossessed in that game, and that might happen again. But like we said when we were talking about the Southampton Wolves game, that Wolves are the best equipped of the middle tier sort of teams for a shootout, for just a very open game. So if Crystal Palace are going to give that to them, then I think that will be in Wolves' favor. So I'm going to go for I'm going to say just 2-1, but a Wolves win.
I'm going to go for a draw in this game.
Wow.
I feel like this is the week where Wolves drop points against a lower-end opponent.
Okay.
Just because they're both, like you said, they're both kind of counterattacking reliance or rely on the counterattack. And if Wolves does give the leeway to Crystal Palace, I think the more games Crystal Palace plays against these kind of similar teams to them, they're going to be able to develop a way to attack, or a legitimate way to not have to rely on the counterattack. And I think this game it'll be like a 1-1 for me, unless Wolves completely dominate, which I think they're capable of doing as well in this game as well. So 61% going to Wolves, 9 going to a draw, 30 going to Crystal Palace.
All right.
Here we go. We got Tottenham versus Cardiff City at Wembley Stadium. Who you got?
It's got to be Spurs. Home game for them. Cardiff were recently heavily battered by Manchester City. And Spurs just came off the 2-0 win away to Huddersfield. So, yeah, I think this will be a pretty straightforward win for Spurs. So, at least it should be.
Is this the last game at Wembley or no?
No, it's not because
Till next month,
November.
November.
No, it's probably like the new year.
Oh wow.
Because I know that I think our game against them is in like the middle of November, and that game was moved to Wembley
Okay.
because it's still not going to be ready. So
Dosed. That sucks.
because it was, I remember reading. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I remember reading that like after the Carabao Cup draw, that there's like a week coming. The week that we play Spurs, there's a week coming up where both us and Spurs, because of the Champions League, Carabao Cup, and then Premier League games on the weekends, like we might have to play 4 games in like 9 days. Both of us, like in order to fit the Carabao Cup games in. So, and yeah, I think that game is going to be at Wembley.
Okay, interesting. But I'm gonna go with Tottenham too. I think Cardiff can't. I mean, unless they can export the unorganized black end of Tottenham, which maybe they might, because they showed a glimpse of it last week. But I don't think they're going to be able to create much chances. I think Tottenham are going to dominate this game.
The one thing that I will say for Cardiff is they are coming off of their best attacking performance. Obviously, this is not a home game for them like it was against Burnley last week, but last week was their best attacking performance, like generating 20 shots, 20 decent chances. So that I'm starting to feel like so like they have yet to win this season. They have no wins, 2 draws, 5 losses. So like I'm starting to get the feeling that they're. Well, it's only been 7 weeks, so 2 draws, 5 losses, right?
I thought they had 6 when I did the stats.
Cardiff have 2 points, 2 draws, 5 losses.
Okay, never mind.
I kind of get the feeling like they're due for one, just like one good performance that gets them maybe their first win of the year. But I'm not sure that it's going to be this week.
Yeah, I don't think it is going to be. But Tottenham has 91%, 1% to a draw with 2, and Cardiff has 7%.
Yikes.
We're going to move on. We got Watford versus Bournemouth, and Manchester United is trying to get into, and then there's the foul. It's at Vicarage Road. Who you got?
I'm going to go for Watford. I think that they played a lot better against Arsenal than the 2-0 result showed. I think they were a little bit unlucky in that game, especially with the own goal. So I think that if they play anything, and now this is a home game for them, unlike the away game at Arsenal. So I think that they'll be much better and much more aggressive going forward. I think that Bournemouth, they did have a good bounce back 2-1 win against Palace last week, but if they play even anywhere between like the 4-0 loss to Burnley and that 2-1 win at Palace, I think Watford's going to have more than enough to get past them. I'm going to go for Watford.
Yeah, so we got 6 versus 7. I'm going to go with Bournemouth on this one. Because from what I saw from Watford last week, who lost to, I'm blanking on who they lost to, Arsenal.
Watford lost to Arsenal.
I think Bournemouth has a couple in them on the counterattack to hit them. And I think Eddie Howe's going to be able to be a lot more organized than the average team around this side of the table.
I think this game could go 2 ways. Like, regardless of who wins, this could be a very just like back and forth attacking thing, and very similar to the Palace Wolves game that we were talking about earlier. Like, sometimes when you get these two kind of middle-level teams that are both used to counterattacking, that only works really if you have a willing partner. So, like, sometimes these games turn out to be like no, we don't want the ball, you have the ball. And the other team's like, no, we don't want the ball, you have the ball. And, like, nothing, like, then it's a pretty dull game.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible that happens here, but you're going with Bournemouth. I think that Watford will have the edge in this one, especially being at home.
Watford has 70%.
Oh, boy.
Predicted. And then a 9 going to a draw and 21 going to Bournemouth. Next, we got Manchester United versus Newcastle United at Old Trafford. Who you got?
I'm going to go for United. I think that this is probably the perfect team for United to go up against at this point. Assuming that none of that crap is true, that like Mourinho's basically throwing matches.
Yeah.
I think that Newcastle has struggled so much going forward that like this is exactly who United need to play. It's a home game for them. I think this gives them a really good opportunity to get a win before the international break, which I think they did last month, where they got a win. They were struggling, and then they got that win like right before the international break
against Watford.
Right, yeah. So I think I'm gonna go for United. I think that just Newcastle are gonna continue to struggle going forward, especially at Old Trafford. And I'm gonna give United the win.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is could be a perfect game, but it also could be a perfect game for Newcastle with the way the back line is working for United. So this could be a good game for them to get some confidence in scoring. So, but I'm going to go with United regardless. But I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle made it a game.
Yeah, it's definitely the right time to be playing Manchester United.
Yeah. So United has 79%, 4% going to a draw, and 17 going to Newcastle.
Interesting.
Next, we're going to move to Sunday. We got Fulham versus Arsenal at Craven Cottage. Who you got?
I'm going to go for Arsenal. We've talked for the last couple of episodes now about how disappointing Fulham have been. I think even though they're the home team here, Arsenal really haven't been playing that well, even though they have a good run of wins going now.
It's a London derby, by the way.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is. You're right, it is.
Kind of.
I just think that Arsenal are still going to have enough, even if they don't play all that well, because Fulham are really struggling at the moment.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Fulham just seems like they have a weird way of clicking, and then they don't click in certain games. Like, you'll have Schürrle and Mitrovic show up, and then, unfortunately, like, for games like this past weekend, there's nothing there for them. Like, Sessegnon Young should have got that goal. Might have helped them get some more momentum to maybe be able to get a better result in that game. This game, I see just Aubameyang and Lacazette just picking them apart, honestly. But I think if they can exploit like Xhaka or exploit Ozil being not helping out in defense, I wouldn't be surprised if Fulham was able to get a draw or more out of this game as well. But I'm going to go with Arsenal just because it seems like Fulham just doesn't want to win or get 3 points. Arsenal has 82% with a draw going with 4% and Fulham getting 14%. Let's get moving. Sunday. We got Southampton versus Chelsea at St. Mary's Stadium. Who you got?
I'm going to go for Chelsea. I think they were basically like one Eden Hazard chance away from beating Liverpool. And then they beat Liverpool in the midweek before that in the Carabao Cup. They've been playing really well so far this season. And Southampton coming off the 2-0 loss to Wolves. I think they're just... did they win last week? I thought they lost to Wolves.
Who? Southampton? Yeah, they did.
Oh, that's weird. The form thing on here says that they... Maybe I'm reading it backwards. Oh, I am reading it backwards. Okay, never mind. Sorry. So yeah, they're coming off 2 losses consecutively for Southampton. I think they're just going to be struggling for confidence a little bit. And I think Chelsea, even though they didn't get the 3 points against Liverpool, they will have gained confidence from that game. So I'm going to go for Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chelsea too. I think they're going to be really hectic with it. It's somewhat like inconsistent backline with Southampton, especially the way they set up. Sometimes they go with 3-man back, they go to 2-man back, and then they switch in and out of all those guys. I feel like the manager hasn't figured out like the right combination for them, but I wouldn't be surprised if like Danny Ings or like Reedman or like Charlie Austin was able to get behind. If they can be able to exploit the crossing and get like David Luiz out of position, I think they can really benefit off that, but I don't see them doing that in this game, unfortunately. And I'm going to go Chelsea, like I said, with 89% going to Chelsea, 3 to a draw, and 8 going to Southampton. Next, we got the game of the week. We got Liverpool versus Manchester City. At Anfield, we got 1 versus 2. 1-2.
Second week in a row we've had 1-2.
So
it was Liverpool-Chelsea last week.
Yes, it was.
Oh, actually, now that I'm thinking about that, it was probably 1-3.
Yeah, 1-3.
Because of the goal difference, yeah.
Interesting game. Who you got?
I'm gonna go for Liverpool.
Oh wow!
I don't know why that's surprising to everyone.
What shirt are you wearing?
Manchester City shirt. I don't know if you saw any of the games against Liverpool last year, but we played them twice at Anfield, once in the league, once in the Champions League, and twice we got utterly annihilated. Not utterly. Well, the Premier League game at Anfield was not utterly annihilated. That was like a good close game. I think that was a 4-3. It was right after the New Year last year, and
Scored
then
3 goals.
yeah, I know, but I mean we gave up 4. Liverpool just. I said that really weird. Liverpool
pulling in goals.
They seem to just have our number. I don't know what to say. Our only benefit I would say is that Mo Salah is not really playing that well at the moment.
Not yet.
Or at least it's just like not clicking for him yet this season. He just doesn't seem to be getting the bounces that he got last year.
Yeah.
Not that I ever expected him to repeat the year that he had last year, but he's had a little bit of a slow start. I think what will also be to our benefit is that City played their Champions League game on Tuesday. Liverpool play Napoli tomorrow as of recording Wednesday. So we have a day's more of rest, and it was not as big of a game for us as the Liverpool-Napoli game will be. So it might work in our favor in that sense, but I don't know. Liverpool just always seem to have our number. So and the only time we beat them last year was when Sadio Mane tried to put his foot through Ederson's face and got sent off.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and so like we beat them 5-1 in that game, but it was 11-10 for basically like the whole game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think Liverpool are going to continue to have our number. I'm going to go 3-2 because I think that both of us are capable of giving up goals. Although Liverpool, and that's another thing too, is that Liverpool have been better defensively this year than they were last year, and we couldn't beat them last year. So unless we had more people on the field than they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go for Liverpool.
I'm going to go with the draw in this game. Like a savage that I am. I think, with the game with Napoli, which is we're going to preview with Sassuolo after this, I think they're not going to be able to play not everyone in their first or their number one lineup is going to be totally fit. They might be a little gassed, and they're not going to have as much days rest, obviously. But I think Pep has it in him to figure something out and to figure them out. I think Pep, I don't know what he's going to do. It'd be interesting if he threw like a weird formation at Jurgen Klopp, and it seems out to work. But I see this game probably being like 2-2. And I think Liverpool has been better defensively, but I think City is always good going forward. And I think they definitely have had your number, but I think it's just the year. I think that's what it is. And Mo Salah.
You think last year was just like special for Liverpool? A little bit?
I just don't think that's going to be as special.
Okay.
So.
Another thing I would add in is that you were saying like possibly like a weird formation. I think what I would watch out for maybe is John Stones ending up in the midfield. It's something that we've seen in recent games. He was subbed on into the midfield in the Champions League game today against Hoffenheim, and especially with Ilkay Gundogan coming off injured in the game against Hoffenheim, he might be the one that steps into midfield. Because he's basically the only one that's not been playing regularly in defense because it's been Kompany and Otamendi and Laporte a lot of the time, like a mixture of those two as the back two. We still have no left back because Mendy's not playing. Guardiola announced a few days ago that Aguero's been playing hurt. I think it was after the Huddersfield.
So why didn't Gabriel Jesus then?
He has a foot in. Gabriel Jesus could not find the back of a net if it was the size of the stadium right now. Like he's not playing well.
Okay.
So he was saying at the time, Guardiola was saying that Aguero was probably not going to be available for the Champions League game and probably not available for Liverpool. But he played in the Champions League game today, so I think if Aguero doesn't play and like we still don't have a left back, so like who's going to defend Mo Salah is going to be like Zinchenko or maybe Laporte.
Yeah.
Someone back there. So I don't know.
It's scary.
It's something that Liverpool will very easily be able to exploit depending on how
it's not just Mo Salah. It's like Alexander-Arnold's there too.
Yeah.
So it's a good one-two
combo. I don't think we really have to worry about Alexander-Arnold so much just because Sané or Sterling or like whoever is out there I think we'll be able to pin, like, Alexander-Arnold's not going to be able to walk away from Sane. So I think that's like the only thing that'll work to us in that sense.
But yeah. So we got 59 going to Liverpool, 7 going
There you
to
go.
draw, and City getting 34%.
There you go.
So that was our Premier League. What are we going to next after this?
PSG Lyon.
PSG Lyon. Where is that?
I know we were talking trash last week about how, like, PSG's going to run away with it, but I thought this was at least a game worth mentioning.
We shall see, sir. We shall see. It is match day 9 for Ligue. And this is going to be the final game of the weekend for Ligue 1.
Yes.
And we got PSG versus Lyon, or Olympic Lyon. I like saying that. Sorry. I don't know how to say that. Parc des Princes.
Parc des Princes.
Better say it. Okay, I said it with a French accent. Never mind. Sorry. Who you got?
I'm actually going to go for a draw. I think that this is the right time for Lyon to play PSG. Obviously, they're away from home, but I guess they play tomorrow. Actually, maybe they're playing right now. I'm not
Who's
sure.
PSG playing today, anyways?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Champions League matchups are. PSG is in the more difficult group, I think. Well, Lyon are with us. So anyway, what I was gonna say is that Lyon are gonna be coming off still, I think, having some confidence against like a big team. Like if they play the way that they played against Manchester City, then I think that they can perhaps finally someone can give PSG some problems this year. I know that Lyon are only in 5th right now in Ligue 1. But I think that they have at least the capabilities to trouble PSG. So I'm just gonna go out on a limb. I know PSG have a perfect record. Them and Juve are the only two that have a perfect record this year. But I think this is the week they lose it.
They played Red Stars tomorrow.
Okay. So
no,
that shouldn't be really, except for the travel, not going to be too bad of a game. Wait. Is that Lyon played Red Star or PSG played Red Star? Oh, okay. Never mind. Well, then that works in Lyon's favor. Unless,
sure.
actually, I guess that means that Lyon are playing Shakhtar, so they might have even farther travel. Because Shakhtar is the 4th team in our group.
I don't think the travel's gonna be that big of a deal. I think PSG is not even gonna play their A1 lineup tomorrow, and I think
maybe.
I think you'll probably get like a Timothy Way up top with like Di Maria or something like that.
Yeah, or like Choupo-Moting.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be on the short end of the stick with Lyon, probably having to face Cavani and Neymar. Even though I think that they both have it in them to play both games, but I'm gonna go with PSG, just because I think we're gonna see a somewhat of a Manchester City year that they had last year, where they were almost invincible. I think they have it in them. I think Mbappe has been fire for them so far this year.
Yep.
Neymar hasn't lived up to Neymar's name so far, but I think he still has it in him. And then Cavani, who I don't think has too many goals. I think it's really just been Mbappe and the supporting cast. And then, Neymar and Cavani have just been like nicking goals here and there. But like it's like we're up 3-0, so here's a goal, Neymar. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But 80% going to PSG, 4 going to a draw, and 16 going to Lyon, which is unfortunate because I think that's what's going to happen.
Fair enough. It is probably likely, but I think that Lyon might be able to squeak a point.
Yeah, but we'll see. What are we going to after this, sir?
The Bundesliga.
Das Bundesliga. We got match day 7 for the Bundesliga. What game are we looking at?
Bayern Munich and Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Ooh, Mönchengladbach. Gladbach.
That was a good try there.
I can't talk.
It's okay.
The home of, or where Ter Stegen came from, and where Hazard's little brother, and
Thorgan.
Fabian Johnson,
America.
play for. We got 2 versus 4, which is an interesting pick. It's a good pick. Who you got?
I'm going to go for Bayern. It's a home game for them. But I think, like we were saying, for example, the Newcastle United game. Sorry, that made it sound like I was just talking about one team. The Newcastle and Manchester United game, where like it's kind of the perfect time for Newcastle to be playing United. I think this is the perfect time for Gladbach to be playing Dortmund. It's not been clicking for them recently. They had a loss to It was not Hertha Berlin, was it? Maybe it was Hertha Berlin. Last weekend
they lost to Berlin, who's
Okay.
in third.
Yeah. So lost to them and a draw. And last I checked, it was 1-1 in their Champions League game that's going right now against Ajax. I'll double check that right now. They're probably up at this point. Nope, it is 1-1 in the 91st minute. So it's possible that Bayern are going to drop points. Again, obviously, different competition. So it'll be 3 games on the bounce that Bayern Munich have dropped points. So it's a good time for Gladbach to be playing them, but I think that Munich are going to bounce back.
Yeah, it looks like a wounded dog kind of situation.
A little
going
bit,
with
yeah.
Bayern. I'm going to go with Bayern as well. I think they'll be able to rebound after this Champions League. I believe, like, hey guys, we're Bayern Munich. We have the biggest payroll in Germany. Come on, what's going on here? We're like the best striker, or one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like
Top 5.
I just think it's probably just a hiccup. I think it was bound to happen as well. Like you can't be that good for that long, like perfectly throughout the season. And I think this was inevitable. But I would hope for a draw because I think it would make it more interesting. Because I know Borussia Dortmund has it in them to lose points somewhere down the line. But yeah, I got Bayern in this one for sure. 74% going to Bayern, 8% or 5% going to a draw, and 21% going to Mönchengladbach. Jesus. Borussia Mönchengladbach. Are we going to stay in the Bundesliga or are we going to move on? Huh?
We're moving on. Unless there's something there that you see that you want to talk about.
No, I don't want to talk about
that. All right. Last but not least, in the Serie A this weekend coming, is Napoli versus Sassuolo.
Matchday 8 for Serie A. We got Napoli versus Sassuolo.
Both teams coming off losses. Sassuolo losing 4-1 to AC Milan. Napoli losing 3-1 to Juve. Home game for Napoli. I'm going to go for a draw. Only because I think this is going to be a bounce-back game for both teams. I think Sassuolo is going to try to fight to stay up.
They're the 5th, by the way.
Up towards the top of
they
the...
were 4th.
Okay. Try to stay up towards that top of the table. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw between the two. You see, Sassuolo is your team, but you were hyping up Napoli against Juventus, so now you're caught in the middle.
So I like what's going on with Napoli, but I think we might see a similar game to when they played Lazio.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But I think the way Sassuolo plays, I think they're a lot more active than Lazio because they have more guys going forward or they're able to find the combinations. But I'm going to go with Sassuolo in this game. I'm going for the upset. Baby! Let's go, Boateng. Boateng's going to get
This is what you said against AC Milan, and AC Milan tore them apart.
But I'm going to say he's going to get a monster header or something like that. Or he's going to get a bicycle kick.
All right, fair enough.
He's going to get a wonder goal. And then Berardi is going to go Berardi on his ass.
All right.
And, I think Napoli's going to drop points, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, that'll just feed into the narrative that Juventus dominate that league. Because Juventus will probably beat whoever it is they're playing. Udinese, who've only won 1 of their last 5 games. So then Serie A will truly be already over.
So we got Napoli with 81%, 4 going to a draw, and 15 going to Sassuolo. So I'm part of that 15%, baby. How do you like them apples? I don't really like apples, actually.
What?
They're all right.
You're crazy.
Any other games we're going to talk about this weekend? Or
Nope,
is that all?
That's it.
That is all?
That's it.
That is it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this week from across the pond, where 2 American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football. Go ahead and like the video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, or go ahead and follow us and like us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play. Someone got fouled. Is that a penalty?
Nope. I think he gave it on the edge.
Not a penalty. I have been the host, Richard Rodillo, joined by the man with the noggin, as he watch is the United game, Jacob Buller. Go ahead and check out all our other videos and other previews and reviews from previous weeks. Get to know us a little bit. And we'll see you guys next time on Across the Pond. Bye-bye.
So long.